All right, let's start it off, brother. Good morning, Sean. How you doing?
Good morning, man. How's everything going?
Everything's going beautiful, man. Lovely day.
Yeah, so I guess since this is our first episode of whatever this is, I guess we need to introduce ourselves.
Yeah, probably. We probably should introduce ourselves every time, right?
So my name is Shad Harris. I'm a digital media marketing strategist with I own a company called the Rebel Society, where we do a lot of content creation, video work, and pretty much anything dope. So yeah, that's pretty much. And I've been in business for full-time 2.5 years, but been dabbling for like past 5 years. So
nice. Yeah, I'm Carl Cleanthes. I am the founder of EpicMade. We create really amazing artisan quality assets for people's brands. A lot of what we work on: animations, illustrations, graphic design, that kind of things. We've been in business for full-time, I think 8 years now, and I've been kind of dabbling since 2006. So what are we at, 12 years now? So yeah. And then our first guest today, thanks so much for coming here with us, man. Really appreciate you. Jared, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm Jared Beasley, creative director at Istoria, full-service digital marketing agency that builds brands by telling stories. Yeah, Istoria is the Greek word for story, and way back in the day, Plato said those who tell stories rule society, right?
Yeah.
Like the meta narrative, the great story, And so back then they told stories around campfires or in community groups, and so like the Istoria logo is a campfire. And nowadays, like we tell stories through all sorts of different mediums, and so we're trying to help build brands by focusing on the storytelling aspect and what resonates with people.
Nice.
All right. So what is your origin story? How did you get started with everything that you do?
Well, I moved out to Virginia to go to grad school, and I studied digital marketing and business out here. And so while I was in school, I was required to do a business plan through the business degree I was in. And I was like, hey, I want to do a digital marketing business. And so I created a business plan for it, and then shortly after I graduated, I launched the business.
Okay.
So,
nice.
I don't know that it was any great, amazing, crazy story to start it, but I had been doing web design and photography and graphic design sort of on the side while I was in school, and I just launched out.
How did you actually know that was a career? Because when I was in college, and I was in college at like 03, that even though I kind of like was heading in that direction, I didn't even know that was the actual industry or career until probably maybe a couple years, like once I got in college, and definitely once I got out of college, I knew that was something that you can make a lot of money in.
Yeah, I think I was initially drawn to actually the film and TV industry. And I came out to go to Regent University because of their cinema television program was really strong.
Okay.
And I heard about their digital marketing program. And so then I sort of just shifted in that direction and realized I wasn't so keen on going into film and TV as much as I was going into the more advertising side of things. And I had taken, even in high school, I was taking like Photoshop, while I was learning Photoshop and Adobe Premiere and some of the Adobe products. And then in undergrad, I had more Adobe classes and some marketing classes and communication theory classes. And so I've always been in that kind of pocket of helping position companies on like, what is your unique positioning statement, and like what makes you you, and then how does that speak into all of the marketing material you're putting out. That's kind of a long answer, I guess.
No, that's great. Yeah, so I'm interested to hear more. Like, so you've kind of branched out from there, like you said. You've kind of gone in a couple directions, and being a creative entrepreneur and having so many skills, and I imagine it lends itself, at least in my experience, like I have all these ideas all the time. I kind of want to do everything. So like, how's that work itself out in your life?
Yeah, sometimes I just do everything.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I want to do that, and I do. So for instance, like I love hip hop, and I was like, I wanted to make more rap songs. So
I feel like we need to save that though. I feel like we need to save that one.
Yeah.
Because- Yeah, we're gonna save that one for later. But,
All right. So yeah, I mean, like, so for instance, like as a full service marketing agency, what does that even mean? Like, there's so much stuff that you could do.
What
so, like,
does
it's
that
not
mean?
su-
I've been trying to figure that out for years.
Yeah, so
Me
it's
too.
like if somebody comes to you and says, "I have nothing. My business needs to promote itself." Basically, I'm running business. Like for instance, I'm a big fan of donuts.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say someone has a donut shop, and they're not promoting it at all. But they're
Favorite
making
donut.
donuts.
Favorite donut though. Ever.
Dude, favorite donut is like asking the Lord, "Who's your favorite child?" He's like, "I love them all."
But you have to have one favorite. All
Well-
parents say they don't have a favorite child, but they always have a favorite child.
No, okay, so for me, it would be more like my favorite, let's say, type of donut would be different. So it's like my favorite old-fashioned donut is made in Chicago at this donut shop in downtown called Do Right. Do Right Donut has the best old-fashioned donut.
Mm.
When it comes to apple fritters, my favorite.
Oh, you broken it down to categories.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
I have different my favorite donuts in different types of categories. So I can't say like my favorite all-time donut is X from Y shop, you know?
Right.
So I could go on forever about cronuts, fritters, you know.
I'm new to the
Plain.
donut game, so mine is definitely duck donuts with the bacon and maple.
Okay. So
He
I feel
just
like
judged
you
you. He
instantly
just judged
judged
the
me.
shit out of
Like,
you.
it's not. No. You know, you're new to the game.
I'm
you're
very
new
new to the game. That's why I put that out there first. I'm
Yeah.
very new to the game.
Yeah. I
Uh,
love Duck Donuts, and I'm being recorded here. Even if I wasn't being recorded, I would say that I do love Duck Donuts. However, I would like to openly sort of challenge the Duck Donut steak because the reason why Duck Donuts is so good is because it's fresh.
yeah.
So my challenge is to Duck Donuts is improve your quality so that when I eat your donut 8 hours later, it's not just an average donut.
Mm.
Because it is.
Cause-
It is. But
Can somebody do that? Does somebody do that already?
oh yeah, there are other donut shops that you're not getting their donuts fresh, and they're still a tremendous donut.
Okay.
But also, like Duck Donuts, the reason why they're so brilliant is the bottom line, right? If you're selling donuts to make money, they're doing it right because they've got it simplified. They make one type of donut. It's all a cake donut, and the only variety is in the toppings. And they're giving that choice to the customers. The customer has like ownership in like the creation of the product.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Froyo craze that was going crazy
Sure,
for a while. But they're not having to worry about, well, what kind are we going to make this morning?
Yeah.
Or are we going to have to have different ingredients for this morning's batch? No.
Mm.
It's always the same. It's very easy. It's on and off. They're brilliant.
Interesting.
But as far as like a love and care into like the full creation of a donut, from like the base to the topping to all of it, it's not Duck Donuts is not my favorite.
I really love this duck donut deep dive right here.
So we side railed his whole comment. I mean, obviously,
Yeah, we
you're
did,
totally involved in donuts, and we definitely have to bring that up. So I'll let you, whatever you want to ask him about that. But
So yeah, what were you saying before the deep dive?
I think we were talking about how it's hard to, when you say you're full service,
Yes,
right?
yes.
When you're a full service marketing agency, what does that mean? And there are so many different areas you could go into, and it is good to specialize. It really is, and I think that's my struggle has been: do I want to specialize when I like doing so many different things?
Mm-hmm.
So there are agencies now that are strictly social marketing agencies.
Mhm.
So all they do is social media marketing.
Wouldn't that be a strong percentage of digital though?
Oh, it's certainly part of it. Yeah, it's a big part of the pie. But then there are other people who are social media marketing for outdoor brands.
Yep.
Or social media. So it's like a specialization within the digital field, and then within the type of client you're bringing on.
Mm-hmm.
And my problem is I kind of like everything, and I really like working with cool people who are doing things that are worthwhile,
Right.
And so if they're a great company and I have the ability to do the kind of work they're after, then I'm drawn to it, and I stay away from focusing on a specific industry or a specific area within digital marketing.
Okay.
That's been my internal struggle this whole time I've been doing this thing. I kind of got to the point where I'm like, I don't care. Screw the focusing niche thing, because I'm making it work and I love working with the people I'm working with.
Good.
And it's working out.
Yeah, and so the most important thing, right, is like you wake up every day and you have that smile on your face and you're happy to do what you're doing. You're your own boss, you know, you're making this work, like you said, and you're still motivated, right? You have that pull to get out of bed every morning. You don't have to force yourself to go to work, right? Which, you know, that's the dream, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
question. So I've actually just really gotten into this field, probably like I said, the past 2 or 3 years, and I'm still learning as I go. Like, I've made some strides, but I'm still in a learning process. So one of my things is I hate working with people who I don't want to work with.
Yeah.
And I know you say you love working with, you know, cool people who you get, stuff like that. So how do you actually navigate working with people that get on your ever fucking nerves compared to working with people that you really want to work with, especially when you have bills, you have a family?
Yeah. So it can be more difficult when you're first starting out, but I navigate away from people that scare me in 2 ways. First is from like an initial client intake survey of being like, what are your goals? And like even the initial meeting. And if it just doesn't match up, I'm like, let me point you in a direction of some other people maybe I could recommend, or just being like, I just don't think this is the right kind of gig for me to take on right now.
Right.
Or honestly, if I'm like, I'm a little uncertain about this gig, I will quote it at such an amount that
it's
worth it.
It's an inconvenience.
It's an inconvenience, but if it works out, like at least I'm getting paid really well. But honestly, that hasn't happened. Usually, I just price them out, and they're like, oh, you know. But usually, I just tell them, like, I don't think this is the right fit for both of us. And
do people get offended by that?
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay.
But you also kind of can't worry about that.
True.
Yeah.
You know? It's the same thing if you were going to get hired, if you're interviewing to work at a company and they'd say, you know, you're not the right fit for us, you know.
It is the same thing.
You know,
Totally.
it's just the opposite side of things. And so, but it feels different because that would be money coming towards you, not like hiring somebody to get money out.
Right.
But it is still very much an interview process.
I find it to be kind of a place of strength too, when you're like, no, that's not a good fit for us. Like, because now you're really like having that conviction with yourself, right? Like, I don't think this is a good fit, and I'm in charge of where this business is going. So, you know, and it's not just about money then, like, you know, which is really nice. And like you said, when you're first starting out, that's you almost can't make that decision. You're just like, I gotta pay these bills.
Right.
So, but that's a, you know, slippery slope kind of thing. You have to figure out that balance. So, how, you know, when did that shift for you? Because it sounds like it has shifted, you know.
Yeah. So I don't do any marketing for myself. It's all word of mouth. Like, people come to me and say, hey, we like what you did on this project. Basically, would you send us a proposal for this project that we're interested in doing? And so I'd say that's been happening now for like 3 years, I guess.
Nice.
I don't know, the past 3 years have been that way.
So, matter of fact, this is a question for actually all of us. As creatives and creative entrepreneurs, why don't we do marketing for ourselves? I know that's something that me and you talked about.
Yep.
Yeah, no, we absolutely should if you're looking to take on a lot more work, right?
Right.
And so I'm honestly right now at sort of a crossroads with where I'm headed in the future, and I don't know that I want to be taking on a lot more work.
Okay.
So I'm intentionally not necessarily marketing myself. But if you want more work, or sometimes you don't want more work, you want better work, right? And so maybe you want less projects, so it's like a smaller client base, but like bigger projects, and so that requires clients with bigger budgets that can do more innovative stuff, you know. So maybe you want to market to that end. But another way of marketing yourself isn't just like putting up ads and stuff.
Right.
It's making the time to do the kind of work that you like to get more work of. So I do
Something
like
personal.
self
Yeah.
work for myself basically.
Right.
So an example of that is like in photography, I really started to get interested in product photography, and I reached out to a local coffee house that's making this coffee liqueur cure down the street here.
Yeah, Chris
And
Shelton.
yeah. So I was like, dude, it'd be so sick to shoot that. So I reached out to them. I was like, just let me shoot this. You don't have to pay me anything. Just give me this thing. I have some ideas. And so I did it totally for free and made this, what I think is a pretty cool composite image. It's like 14 photos in one, but it looks like a single photo. So I lit the bottle differently every single time, and then we threw coffee beans and all of that, and it's this really dynamic image. And so then I can take that image and I can share it out to other companies that have product basically, and say, hey, I can create these crazy images for you, and you can charge a high amount because it's a really high image.
Right.
And so that's just an example of a different way of like promoting, like spending your time on something to do the kind of work that you like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now it hasn't worked out.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you on that end.
The theory is all there though.
Yeah,
so
the
you'll
theory is
see.
there. It has worked out for other things that I've done, but for this, like I reached out to a bunch of local distilleries that are, creating whatever,
Sure.
and they all have no money basically, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, where I need to take that next is to like local wineries and local breweries and be like, yo, let me shoot your bottles or your cans and let's do something crazy with it.
Right.
Talk to me about that, because I do have some connections with a distillery and a brewery that might, well, the brewery might be interested for sure. They actually just brought us on to do some label design and stuff. So
Sweet.
yeah, we'll definitely catch up about that.
So, question: what were the beginning stages of your business as far as like the type of work that you're doing, the clients that you're working with, and then also talk about when did it flip to where you're at now? If that makes sense.
Yeah, so when I first started out was when I was still in school, and it was like basically hobby businesses. So people who were like, hey, I want a blog, or I'm thinking about writing a book and I need a website for my book. And so I was doing WordPress sites and that. And then inevitably people were like, I need a photograph to go along with this, or I need my book actually designed, or we're doing a documentary and we need a doc. It was just like people I knew that needed stuff, and I did it for so cheap. I mean, it was basically for free.
Yeah.
Like you're doing a freaking book cover for like $50.
Right.
I totally did a website for Pungo Board House when they first opened a long time ago. I was still in school, like $250 and like a bunch of T-shirts and some hoodies and stuff. And like,
Yeah.
I think I spent like 100 hours on this thing,
Really?
like doing all these crazy little like rollovers and
Yeah.
like illustrations and so same idea.
Yeah, so a couple of years went by. Like right when I graduated school, I was working in the marketing department at the university, and that's when I started to get serious about going and doing my own thing. And
What school did you go to?
reaching.
Regional.
Yeah.
For grad school, right?
So there was a shift to try to figure out how do you write it. I went through school and we learned like how to write a proposal, right? How to invoice, how to bill, all that sort of stuff. And that's when the shift started to happen. And I had to be like, no, I'm a business. This is not a hobby thing. This is not a side hustle. This is what I do. So I had to up my rates. And then I heard about Brennan Dunn, who's a local guy who does like double your freelancing. He had a conference and he has a website that talks about how to be a freelancer or an agency, and about positioning and billing and all of that. And basically he's like, it's called double your freelancing because he's like, you need to double your rate.
Yeah.
So I did. I was like, all right. I immediately doubled my rate. And I still got just the same amount of work.
Yep.
And then I found the clients that I was working with were even better because they were more motivated.
Right.
And they were more serious about what the projects were. And I did the same thing because I shoot photography, I shoot weddings as well. And I doubled my wedding rates. I got the same amount of weddings. And it's not that the people I was working with were necessarily better people or anything, but I will say that the weddings that I was shooting tend to be more higher dollar weddings. Like the venues are cooler, and
that allowed you to do a little bit more as far as creativity.
yeah, man. I mean, like sometimes a photo of a cake is just the same quality of photo as another cake. But when the cake is this incredible cake set in this incredible setting, people go, that's an incredible photograph.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, I shot it just as good on the wedding that cost like 1/5.
Yeah.
You know, but people don't see that. They see what you've captured. And so higher dollar weddings mean higher end photos.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like sometimes like you charge more, then the work is just better. It's this weird sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you know, we're all kind of scared, I think, to raise our rates. But when you think about what it costs to run a business, that's the other thing you start to learn. Like somebody's like, "Oh, I'm paying you how much an hour?" You know, but then you're like, I'm not working that rate, you know, 40 to 60 hours a week. There are other things that go on that it takes to run a business.
Right.
But for people who've just worked an hourly gig their whole life, you know, it's hard for them, and they haven't been an entrepreneur.
Right.
It's hard to understand. But when you work with people who get it, then they're much more willing to they understand.
Yeah. So I mean, you've been doing this a while now, and you've built up all these different skill sets. And honestly, like I've seen your photography; it's amazing. You really do great with photography. I've seen some great graphic design come from you, really great websites. You know, and honestly, like the big shocker for me was like watching your first music video. Like came out of left field for me. Like I've known you for a couple of years now. We literally shared an office. Like so, I've always seen you as this very collected guy. You know, and just so to see you be so extroverted and so just I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it was just refreshing. I thought, how creative is this? I was honestly just like almost jealous. Like, man, look at this really cool shit Jared is just coming out of left field with. I had no idea. Like, I was just like, oh my god. Like, I felt compelled just to instantly share it on my feed and just like, oh my god, Jared's killing this. So, and the first one I saw was your rap song about donuts, which was amazing, by the way.
So like, when I was talking to Carl probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago, like, we have to, interview this guy Jared. I know he's a rapper. And he showed me the video, and like the video was like, first the video was impeccable, like it shot
the quality, oh my god!
Great. And then like just seeing you like interact, and then meeting you, like I said, when you came in, it's like it's a completely different person. So do you feel like you have to kind of like switch it like a pro wrestler, or?
No, man, that's just like going back to my roots. Before I was doing any design or photography or anything, like I was in theater, I was playing sports. Like those are emotionally engaging things, and acting and being big on stage, and I mean, so it's just going back to that, and like growing up listening to hip hop and rock and just like rocking out. Like,
yeah. It's just like a different gear for you. It's like,
well, dude, when I'm at home, I'm like putting music on. If I'm cleaning the kitchen, I'm getting it.
Yeah,
I'm not just like lazily doing
just
the
like,
dishes. Like, I put music
you're singing
on.
and jamming, and I got you.
Like we've got a song coming out that's about that. It's called Like Nobody's Watching, and it's about dancing at home like no one's watching because no one is, because it's just you.
Right.
No inhibitions, right? You're not worried about someone's opinion or what what are they gonna think? Am I doing this move right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not. It's just like it just happens. So it's not like, oh, I got to turn on my rapper hat. It's just like, nah, man. Like the beat's going, and I'm like speaking. Like you got to rap about what's true to you.
Right.
Donuts are true. I love stupid donuts. I think they're.
We figured that out.
Yeah. And so I was like, no, this is what we have to rap about. And I think whenever you're tapping into like what actually moves you, which is maybe it's sad that donuts move me, but it just, you can tell it's like more pure and it's more
right.
Yeah.
It's like I said to you when we were talking about it, it's like everything about the whole production you're doing with Midbest is just, what's your handle on that, by the way, on Instagram?
My personal handle?
No, Midbest.
Midbest Raps.
Midbest Raps, yeah. Everything you guys have put together with this, the logos and the iconography and all the pieces are polished, like extremely well done. The video, the photography, every time you put a touch point on it. And then like the lyrics are so ridiculously silly. It's almost like a Weird Al Yankovic, kind of like just so out there that it's just hilarious. But it all ties in. Like you said, you're clearly passionate. This is real legit stuff, The donut song, the struggle bus was so funny. Like, did you watch that one? It's just like all the first world problems. It's just like whiny bitch like things. Like, oh my god, I'm out of cereal. Like, but it's so hilarious.
So what made you decide to say, you know what, I'm gonna just kind of hop out there and just start rapping?
I mean, you know, you get a desire, you got to do it.
Right.
You get that creative itch, gotta scratch
But,
it, right?
Well, you know, it goes back, like, when I was in high school, though, they let me and my buddies do on a local radio station, we were playing hip-hop. It was actually a Christian station, so we were playing Christian hip-hop, which back then, Christian hip-hop was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And, like, we were, like, craving to find good stuff that was, like, positive
Right.
stuff. And we were finding it, and over time it's gotten a lot better, and now there's a couple of guys that have crossed over and done really well.
Right.
Like NF is really big right now. He's got that kind of angry rap sort of sound.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to Eminem, and I hate to compare them because they're both white guys, but you know, because a lot of people will come up and be like, "Oh, you're similar to some other white rapper."
Yeah.
It's like, nah, we're both white, but they're
That's it.
similar.
Yeah.
But like NF has this kind of like the energy that like Eminem would have.
That
That same, like, aggressive
raging
kind of,
energy.
yeah.
Yeah, and then of course Lecrae is like big. So anyway, we were like doing radio stuff back then. We were rapping back then, just goofing around. We had a group back then, and me and my buddy were like, dude, let's do it up. Let's do it right. Let's get the album professionally mixed and mastered. Let's get a DJ on the cuts. And so while it is like tongue-in-cheek or donut-in-cheek, like it's still very much a real rap record.
It is.
And there's a lot of like nods to the past, like, you know, dedicated to DJs, this vintage track that's like got cuts like crazy. Like we're doing it, man. You know, like it's just kind of like goofy, but it's real at the same time.
Totally.
And it's not the come on my come on my son,
Yeah.
come on my anyway, I'll get started on that.
It's actually rhyming. Like when I actually listen to a couple songs from it, I'm like, you actually can rhyme.
Uh-huh.
It's like it's good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite song right now that you made?
That I made.
And then after that, what's your top 5 favorite albums?
Shoot. Okay. Goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think, you know, with the Mid-Best Project, we're putting out a song pretty much every month.
Okay.
And so I'm going to say my favorite song every month is the one we're about to put out.
Love it. It should be, right?
That's a very cliche answer.
But it is like, okay, I'm focused on this next one right now, so it's the one that's on like my mind. And so the one that we're about to put out is a song called For Forever. And the concept is about asking a girl to marry you. And so in the song, you get to kind of see into the mind of where I kind of was before I asked my wife to marry me. And then this female vocal, I mean, Olivia Dyer is the female in the song. You kind of see into like what maybe the female perspective is a little bit. And so the song, the first like 2/3, she's saying like, I can't wait for you to ask, basically. And then like there's kind of like the apex, and then after it, then she's like, I can't believe like that this is forever, basically. So I've like asked. Anyway.
Are you doing that like a comical approach, or is
No, it's more serious.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's more serious, but it's borderline cheesy. I think it's kind of cheesy.
Okay.
But all the girls that got listened to it are like, no, it's not cheesy. My top 5 albums, dude, come on.
Please give me 3.
Okay, so there's 2 different ways of looking at this. Like the 5 albums that you think are the greatest of all time, and then your 5 favorite because you have like emotional connection.
What are your 5 favorite?
My 5 favorite would be a group called LA Symphony, and their album Call It What You Want, which was like never released.
Okay. What year
Probably
was
never. This is like
I never heard of
it was supposed to
yeah.
come out. It was supposed to come out, I think, in like 2002 or something like that. So there's this rapper named Pigeon John. He's like my favorite guy of all time, and he's in this group, and this album is just really diverse and really good, and then never got released because the album they were signed to like fell flat. Anyway, that album is incredible. Probably I also have to say like Pigeon John's album, Pigeon John Is Dating Your Sister, just because like it was that
Sounds
moment.
funny.
Yeah, it's fun. So it's this like this moment in my life that was like really foundational, like late high school, like early college sort of. And I think like studies have come out to say like you tend to like music that was big back in that kind of that age
Sure,
of your
yeah.
life. You know, so both of those albums, but I don't know, man. I grew up in an era where we started to move away from albums and into singles, and I think we're there now. It's
definitely there.
It's like now I listen. It's unfortunate, like, because I'm putting music out, but like I'll dig a song and I'm like, I don't even know who the song's by. You know, it's like, I know it's on this playlist.
Yeah, right.
I listen to this playlist. So that sounds terrible because I'm a musician, I guess. And anyways.
Okay. Yeah, because mine are definitely Jay-Z Blueprint.
Okay, so that's an incredible album.
Yeah. Kanye Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Okay.
And then Wale Mixtape About Nothing.
Okay.
I have a hard
Where'd you
time
go?
giving Kanye kudos for anything just because
I
him as a
understand.
human is just not
He's
hitting high marks.
recording
for
We
us.
need to pray for Kanye.
Yeah.
We pray for Kanye for
Right.
sure.
Kanye.
The
But
musical talent is clearly there.
Yeah.
The rest of it's kind of got problems.
I've known him in trash a while though.
I really appreciated Kanye back in the day, like College Dropout. You know, back then I was all about it. And there's so many good rap records from the past.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like new era hip hop. Is it hip hop? You've got like the old heads and the new heads.
Yeah, I can't stand mumble rapping. It makes me just really
it's the worst.
frustrated. Like, why is this guy like? I don't understand.
There's a lot of good stuff out that, but it's just not pushed. You know,
Yeah.
you don't go to like Spotify's whatever hip hop playlist because you're not going to find it on there.
No.
You know, but on the underground scene, man, there's still a lot of guys out there like putting out quality.
Oh, sure.
quality stuff.
For sure.
Matter of fact, follow-up question that kind of ties in everything. Is there, this kind of relates to the music conversation as well as just videos, stuff in general. Is there too much content out in the world right now? Because I feel like with music, we're just bombarded with new artists, new songs, new projects, but also on the other side, we're also bombarded with new content, new videos, it's just too much sometimes.
I mean, it's only going to get worse. Like, it's not going to get better. So the only way it gets better, I think, is some better way to curate that automatically.
Right.
But then who's curating that?
Right, that's another question.
Yep. Pretty much anybody can have a platform.
Right.
You can be an 8-year-old kid unboxing toys and have a platform.
Making
That's the
crazy
thing.
money on
Crazy
YouTube.
money.
Crazy.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
My kid knows these kids now. Like,
Ryan's something.
Yeah, Ryan's Toy Box or something.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing.
So this kind of goes back to my whole thing of like Plato saying whoever tells stories rules society, and like anybody has the opportunity nowadays to have a platform.
Mm-hmm.
And as marketers or creatives, the companies we're working with, they all have an opportunity to spread the message about their product or their service, and our job is to help them do that and do that well. But I will say that the stuff that I think catches on and takes off is either like highly entertaining or has some real connection with people. So either it's just this like ridiculous, like, oh my god, hilarious cat falling off a ledge or something stupid that you're like, oh, this is hilarious, I gotta share with someone. Or it's like this real sense of connection that people are vibe with because it's like this real authentic thing.
Yeah.
And our most successful, if I want to tie it back to Midwest, our most successful song that we put out, I think, is the Donut song, because it's just like people would see it and it's shareable because people are like, this is a legit thing. It's about donuts. I have to share this with my donut friend.
Yeah.
Like, you might not have a donut friend, maybe you do. So-and-so loves donuts. He would love this video.
You might have just made a donut friend with this video, right? Like,
Yeah. So
the video is hilarious too, man. Like the visuals and the lyrics. It was just I shared it with at least 20 people. Just like my friend made this. Look how awesome it is.
Yeah. So is there too much content? Oh yeah. I mean, it's completely overwhelming. There's no way anyone could begin to consume all of it. But it is kind of cool and scary to live in an age when anyone can have a platform, because that goes both ways.
Right. That goes for all
I think
the good
we're all
stuff.
seeing that.
Yeah.
All the good stuff
There's
and
some
all the
weird.
bad
There's
stuff.
some weird shit on the internet, y'all. Like,
Do y'all know it's like a whole category of people eating food on YouTube? Just chewing food. Have y'all seen this?
No,
This is the weirdest shit I've ever seen.
just like smacking like a horse,
Yes.
like shit falling out their mouth.
Yes. I seen somebody on Friday was just watching YouTube of somebody eating seafood and was engaged.
But I think the crazier part about that is like, there's somebody at the top of that lip smacking food eating game making good money eating food and having literally no skills other than like being a terrible eater. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. We live in that
Yeah.
world now.
That's the weirdest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's weird. And the key though is, I think if you get into the point of like, how do I make money off of doing this stupid weird thing? It's like, no, don't worry about that. Like, what is your thing? You know?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, I love rap. I love donuts. I made a donut rap video. I didn't think about it. I kind of just did it. And if you're doing something that you love, and if it turns out to be good, like, and it connects with people, it's going to take off. So I think the focus
Passion
is,
and talent kind of.
yeah, I
come
think the
together.
focus is more like just do your thing, whatever that is, and it might take off, it might not, but at least enjoy the process. Like, create for the art's sake,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, it's like, well, I still enjoy making it.
Right.
Like, we've had not tons of songs. We've had a number of songs people don't even know we've put out, But I've enjoyed making those songs.
Yeah.
Right.
I've enjoyed the process.
And it's like, what else are we going to do? Like, watch Netflix or somebody smacking some food in their mouth on YouTube? Like, you should be doing stuff that's fun and exciting.
Yeah.
And compelling.
Right.
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson said it's incredible how much stuff you can do if you're constantly doing.
Right.
This
Yeah.
dude didn't rest, man. All he did was like write, read, and like basically do his Thomas Jefferson thing. which is,
Yeah.
like, ruling and stuff. So
And no
But
one
I'm
will
like-
ever forget his name.
yeah, it's like,
He's a legend.
okay, I try to do less intake and more outtake, and then be very intentional about the stuff I'm taking in. So I really, this is me challenging myself. So I try to read more like classic stuff and try to watch some more content that's like stood the test of time.
Right.
Mm.
Because man, again, going back to the overload on content, like there's so much of it out there.
Yeah.
Life's so short. It's just like, be mindful about what you take in and focus on creating.
All right, cool,
So-
cool. It's been a solid interview. I really love this conversation that we all had.
Yeah.
I guess let people know where they can find you.
Well, you can find my agency work at Istoria.co. That's Istoria.co. If you want to look at my photography portfolio, it's my name.net, Jared Beasley, JaredBeasley.net. And if you're interested in the hip hop, the raps, it's mid.best. How do you like that website?
That's-
mid.best.
That's badass.
And we're on social everywhere.
Is it
Best
just
Raps.
mid.best?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. It's great. They have a new domain
Yeah,
extension for best and mid best. You grab it, bro. It's perfect.
I was
So-
freaking out, honestly, when I got it.
I bet. So one last thing I'll ask you. What's your rapper name, man? You got a stage name?
Back in the day, my rapper name was Jargon, and I've kind of fallen out of love with it.
Okay.
I really want to be just Jared. Like, actually, just Jared.
Love it.
There's a website, justjared.com, that's celebrity gossip.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, dang.
You should buy it from.
But I'm like, no, buy it from. Like, it's a pretty big website.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty big site. And so I'm like, you know what, though? I can still have a rapper named Just Jared. Maybe I can. I don't know.
Just Jared
Just
beats
Jared.
or just Jared raps or just Jared.
Just Jared.
Just
Yeah.
sure.
I like it.
Because I used to rap with a bunch of guys.
Then
back
you'll be
in the day, and I
JJ.
was like, just Jared.
Just Jared.
Cool, man. Jared, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for coming on our show.
Yeah,
doing
thanks
this
for
thing
having
with
me.
us.
Good times.
Yeah, man.
So I guess we need to try to find a way to kind of wrap this up, but I guess we just say bye.
Bye.